I will be meeting with Kim Jong-un in the coming weeks. It would be a tremendous thing for North Korea and a tremendous thing for the world.
He is bringing North Korea closer to behaving like a real country than anyone in our lifetime.
The Department of Homeland Security is raising the alarm yet again on California and other states' sanctuary policies.
142 gang members that ICE was trying to deport were instead released back into communities.
There's been nobody tougher on Russia than President Donald Trump. If we got along with other nations, that's good, not bad.
The city of Houston, Texas, celebrating the life of former First Lady Barbara Bush, lighting up City Hall there on the right in her favorite color ahead of tomorrow's public memorial.
A big surprise for a mom on Long Island, U.S. and Eric Benzing, surprising his mother, Regina.
I'm just really proud of him.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody, live from New York City on this Thursday morning. Come on up, camera guy. Get the picture over here. We're at the curvy couch. And as we saw from the last segment during Fox and Friends First, let's see if we can make it to 10:59 without cussing.
Yeah, it's going to be hard. It's going to be interesting.
We have 3 hours on TV. Will today be the day?
Just a quick reference to Stormy. Stormy Warren of The Highway interviewed Kane Brown, who was the opening song for this show, the Thursday edition of Fox and Friends.
I thought you were going to go when you said the word
That's
Stormy.
That's what I think of Stormy.
Ainsley thought you were going to be talking about
the weather.
Storm Field, who's the weatherman here in New York City, because it's a terrible rainy day.
That's so funny. He's the meteorologist, and his name is Storm.
I know.
When I was working in another local news, I think it was in Charleston, there was a guy who was, I think he was our sports guy. He was also a radio guy. His name was Adam, but he spelled it A-T-O-M.
Atomic.
Really?
Yes.
There you go.
If you're out there, call us. Tell us why.
All right.
Send us crazy names.
Right.
Everyone has a story.
Friends at FoxNews.com, Twitter, or Facebook. Meanwhile, the President of the United States, he's down at his Mar-a-Lago resort along with the Prime Minister of Japan, Shinzo Abe, and during a joint availability yesterday in Mar-a-Lago's fancy ballroom, the President was talking a little bit about, it sounds like there's going to be a summit with Kim Jong-un at the end of May or early June. And while Mr. Kim has been described during his meeting with Mike Pompeo as personable and well-prepared, the President said yesterday, if the meeting goes south and it's not fruitful, he's going to go to the exit.
I will be meeting with Kim Jong-un in the coming weeks to discuss the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. Hopefully that meeting will be a great success, and we're looking forward to it. It would be a tremendous thing for North Korea and a tremendous thing for the world. We've never been in a position like this with that regime. If I think that it's a meeting that is not going to be fruitful, we're not going to go. If the meeting, when I'm there, is not fruitful, I will respectfully leave the meeting.
I think it's pretty amazing that the CIA director, who's going to be the Secretary of State, if Congress doesn't embarrass itself, Mike Pompeo goes over there and has a one-on-one and walked out. Now, if he felt as though he wasn't serious, he wasn't prepared, he wasn't ready, or he wasn't sincere, he would have come back and just said, Mr. President, don't embarrass yourself in the country. We're not doing it. So we saw enough there. And by the way, he can keep a secret. Pretty clear. Yeah. Pretty clear he can keep a secret. He went through his confirmation hearings, even though he spent his Easter in North Korea. Nobody knew it. He didn't let
Nobody asked.
And you've asked many times if we're going to free, if the president is going to ask Kim Jong-un to free these Americans that are there. He said he's definitely going to be putting pressure on him to denuclearize, I can't say it, and denuclearize, yes, take out the nuclear weapons. And he's also going to ask to free these 3 Americans that are held in North Korea. Now, Shinzo Abe, he said Japanese citizens have also been abducted, and this president, our president, said he's going to put pressure on Kim Jong-un to also release those individuals. Get this, North Korea said they abducted 13 Japanese citizens. Japan saying no, it was more than that. There were 17. They abducted them to train their agents to speak Japanese so they could go spy.
Back in the 1970s and the 1980s. The president said he's actually negotiating to release them, but but there was a question about, hey, so Mike Pompeo goes over there and he doesn't get anything, he doesn't get them in return as a good faith effort, and the president answered, look, I'm working on it. Mike Huckabee says, look, the fact that this president is bringing North Korea closer, this is historic.
He's a guy, when he plays cards, never really gives his cards away. So what he's really doing is saying, okay, Pompeo came, we had a great visit, things went well, the setup is there, but he wants to make it very clear he has some expectations. Now, will his expectations be met? Probably not. Not completely, but it's historic in that he is bringing North Korea closer to behaving like a real country than anyone in our lifetime has been able to do, and that really is progress.
It is, and you know, it's just amazing too. Most people who aren't just blind with partisanship are saluting the president's tactics to this point that brought us to this point. While the president is smart enough to say, I'm going to raise expectations. We can't even pick a spot right now to have the June, what seems to be a June summit. Also in the backdrop, they're also talking about North Korea, South Korea armistice, ending the Korean War,
That'd be great.
which, you know, the conflict ended in '53, but we never signed anything. So South and North Korea could be making an historic announcement in May.
Right. Meanwhile, our president, who is there in Florida, is going to head down to Key West, to the Key West Anti-Smuggling Center, and California's Governor Jerry Brown, he is now saying he will deploy those 400 National Guard troops, but there are conditions. There are strict terms.
That's right. Keep in mind, the president ordered up to 4,000 National Guards troops on our southern border to help with immigration. But Jerry Brown made it very clear. I'll put them all over the state, but they're not going to help with immigration. Part of his order reads this: California NG service members shall not engage in any direct law enforcement role nor enforce immigration laws, arrest people for immigration law violations, guard people taken into custody for alleged immigration violations, or support immigration law enforcement activities. It is so specific, it gets down to these people will not be able to gas up the trucks if the trucks are going to be used for immigration. It is that
Or build the
crazy.
wall.
Right. So the liberal governor does not have the voice of the people in his head when he's making these rules. They did a recent survey, this Haas Institute, and they said, you know, what do you think about the illegals and bolstering the border? 60% are for what the president's doing, but this governor is not. So he is beginning to lose counties, he's beginning to lose towns and cities, and he has lost the majority of the California people.
It's baffling that that guy right there, the governor, is defending illegal criminals and not allowing ICE to work with them and arrest them if they're criminals and they're here illegally. Why should all of this matter to you? Well, the numbers are really staggering. The Department of Homeland Security has released the gang members that were shielded from deportation because of sanctuary policies. Keep in mind, gang members, MS-13, Brian went out to Long Island to do that story with those families that were there with the president when he gave the State of the Union address.
Yeah.
This gang is known for gruesome crimes. The parents of those girls could not even recognize their daughter's body.
So let's take a look at this state by state, and we'll see how many. By the way, California, congratulations. You lead on this one, too. 89.
Two-thirds of the total number were released from California. And then Maryland, I know the numbers are a little small to see. Maryland, 13. Texas, which is one of the, you know, crackdowniest states, they had 11. But then keep in mind, in Travis County, the sheriff there, Sally Hernandez, has made it very clear she does not cooperate with ICE. That's why it's 11 in Texas, 11 in Washington, and 11 in Maryland.
And by the way, a lot of them came during that so-called unaccompanied minor surge at the border, where everyone with their big hearts and open arms said, you got to come. They're desperate, nowhere to turn. A lot of them were pretending, and a lot of them came in here and started with their gang activity. So you have to watch.
So when they were released, rather than going directly to the federal government, they just opened the door and they vanished.
You just hear these stories of what's happening in Syria to these families, what's happening in North Korea. We just want to keep our country safe.
And
it's not that we don't have a heart.
It seems like it's easy to do, but those are the numbers, folks.
Well, speaking of opening the door, Ainsley, when she wanted to leave this morning, opened up her front door. Now you have to read to Adam Housley.
When you opened yours, it was on camera.
Yes.
He has the Ring doorbell.
Yeah.
All right, here's a live look in Houston. The city is celebrating the life of former First Lady Barbara Bush. Look at that, lighting up City Hall in her favorite color ahead of tomorrow's public memorial.
This is, we learned, the First Lady Melania Trump and other first families will attend the former First Lady's funeral Saturday.
Adam Housley is live outside the funeral home in Houston. Good morning, Adam.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, we expect to get that official guest list here this morning, but there are some names coming out. You mentioned the Melania Trump will be here. We know there'll be a lot of others. In fact, we've heard some rumors about people that know the Bushes very well, of course, planning to attend. The plan is in place, for that matter, here in Houston. Right now, the former First Lady is at the funeral home behind me. Tomorrow, she'll lie in repose at the church here. And there are all sorts of memorials taking place around the area tonight. There will actually be a candlelight vigil as well. You showed City Hall. Let's show the pictures there of the flowers at City Hall that have been gathering and been dropped off by so many people that love the First Lady here in this part of the country, and for that matter, across the country as well. A park here named after her, we're told, is going to be redone. There's been some flowers arriving there as well. We're also getting more great comments coming from not only those people that knew her, but those that were very close to her, like her husband, Bush 41, who put out another statement yesterday that just kind of gives you more insight into the incredible woman she was and also how close the family is. His statement from Bush 41 says, quote, "I always knew Barbara was the most beloved woman in the world. And in fact, I used to tease her that I had a complex about that fact. But the truth is, the outpouring of love and friendship being directed at the enforcer, as she was known in the family, is lifting us all up. We have faith she's in heaven, and we know life will go on as she would have it. So cross the Bushes off your worry list." We're also hearing more from Bush 43 about his mother. Take a listen to this.
The day before she died, I said, "Mom, I just want you to know you've been a fabulous mother, and I love you dearly." And she said, "I want you to know that you're my favorite son on the phone."
Mrs. Bush will lie in repose tomorrow at St. Martin's Episcopal Church just down the street from here. We drove by there this morning, guys. A stunning location, beautifully lit up, and tomorrow that's where she'll lie in repose here for those who want to come pay their respects.
A wonderful person, remembered by so many. All right, Adam, thank you very much. Live report from Houston.
She lived a long and rich life.
She did. Beautiful family.
Hey, does anyone know where Jillian is?
She's right next to you.
Oh.
And she's wondering if the president golfed yesterday.
Well, we don't know. More on that later.
Good morning to you guys. Let's get you caught up on some of your headlines right now, starting with this. Just one day after that nightmare explosion on a Southwest plane, the engine of a Delta jet catches fire. Check it out. Thick black smoke coming out from under the wing, forcing the plane heading from Atlanta to London to turn back.
Issue with the engine on the right-hand side. Apparently there's some smoke coming from it.
Firefighters spraying the plane down with foam on the tarmac. Thankfully, no one was hurt and passengers were put on another flight. The cause of the fire is now under investigation. Police are looking into the suspicious death of H.R. McMaster Sr., the father of former National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster. The 84-year-old died last week after falling at a retirement community in Pennsylvania. Investigators believe McMaster may not have received proper care after that fall. Now, there are also reports records surrounding McMaster's death were falsified. Let's look at your headlines.
That's a terrible story.
Yeah.
Got to look into that.
All right, Jillian, thanks.
Meanwhile, ignore all the bad news about illegals. Just ask California Governor Jerry Brown.
I think Fox News exploits this issue. We have criminals that do horrible things all the time.
So Fox News is exploiting the issue? Well, apparently the governor has not spoken to Jamil Shaw, his son murdered by an illegal immigrant in California. He will join us live with a message for the governor shortly.
And Eric Holder just dropped another hint about his intentions for 2020.
We will not repeat the mistakes of previous administrations. Our campaign of maximum pressure will continue until North Korea denuclearizes. Mike Pompeo will go down as one of the great Secretary of States. And by the way, he just left North Korea, had a great meeting with Kim Jong-un.
Stunning news confirmed by the president. He was quite pleased following Mike Pompeo's meeting with Kim Jong-un over Easter to lay out the groundwork ahead of next month's high-stakes summit and to see if North Korea was indeed sincere. Christian Whitten has served as the Deputy Special Envoy for North Korean human rights, as if they do give human rights, in the Bush administration, and joins us now to weigh in. Christian, what changed to bring us to this point?
What changed, something I saw firsthand at the Trump State Department, was a year of U.S.-led pressure, economic pressure, diplomatic pressure, and military pressure that convinced Kim that not only the U.S. but our allies were very serious about putting pressure on him, about taking away his support or his sources of foreign money, and that really is what brought him to the table, I think.
So what do you think, what would be the fundamentals to make this summit go forward? We say they have to denuclearize or we get up and leave. Do we put that on the table early? Do we work towards it? Is this an incremental thing?
I think so, and that's what's the difference between this round of negotiations and two previous times. You know, the Clinton administration and the Bush administration both tried to buy off North Korea for its nuclear arsenal, its nuclear aspirations. Both times desperate to get to a deal, diplomats in search of Nobel Prizes. And the complete difference this time around is Donald Trump, who knows how to negotiate and is willing to walk away from a bad deal. That's something every American who's bought a used car knows, but a lot of our professional diplomats don't know. So that's why it's different this time.
So, you know, we know that Japan has their objective, South Korea has their worries, and China has their objective. They have no interest in seeing that regime collapse. So, do you think the president walks out in June with a framework for a deal, or just